strong, empowered, authentic.
What's up, Ginger Nation? This is Tosh.
This is Darren, and you are listening to the Authentic
Ginger Podcast. Welcome to the Authentic Ginger Podcast. I'm Tosh Taylor.
And I'm Darren Roach. And today, Tosh, we have a very interesting guest. I'm really excited to talk with Rachelle Evans. Rachelle Evans is in the UK, but she also founded a Facebook group called Rachel's World of Redheads. Did I get that right, Rachel?
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right. So we're going to get into that. But I was just telling Tosh before the show started, I had to tell a story because I'm feeling really shitty in a way right now. And I'm going to tell you both why. And I went to the gym this morning, and I was there, and I was feeling really good. I was just saying to Tosh, I worked out pretty hard today, so my glasses are fogged up and everything else, but I was really hungry after I finished. I ended up going to the grocery store. You know what I bought at the grocery store? I bought mac and cheese, hot right out of the oven. I bought a small pack of potato wedges, you know those little potato wedges.
So good.
And I bought the chocolate-covered granola bars, big club pack. I took 2 of those bars on the way home, finished the wedges, and then I pounded back 4 more of those granola bars.
Oh my God.
I couldn't stop. Exactly. I couldn't stop. So I had 6 bars. But boy, I felt like shit after I ate all that stuff. And it was made, and I'm going, what the hell's the point of working out if I'm just going to go ahead and just put all that? I mean, I think I only burned maybe 120 calories in my workout. Yeah. So I think I just ate 500 to 1,000 calories maybe. So I'm now settling my stomach with what we call tiger tea. I digress. That was my last hour here. Sorry to bore you with that, but here I am. We do like to get started right away with kind of, hearing about you and your experience having red hair. Like, anything you've gone through as a kid. How was it for you growing up with red hair? And when did you first realize that, hey, you know what, my hair is a little different than everybody else's? What gives?
Well, I first noticed my hair was different ever since I was little. Like, I've got some workbooks I used to have back when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. And I drew a picture of me and my classmates all sitting around a table. And everyone else is just, a blob with a circle on top, But then you come around to me and I use an orange crayon. Yeah. I'm the only one that has hair and it is orange. So I knew from that point that I was different. Up until high school, I had a really positive experience. But then as soon as I hit high school, the slightest bit of difference people see, they will target you. I'm sure loads of people will agree with me there. I wasn't bullied relentlessly, but it was more like an occasional thing with a few individuals. Like, I remember I've been spat on, I've been called all sorts of names, which I'm sure a lot of people have. And I was told once I was the ugliest girl in the year, so that kind of hurt.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awful.
Yeah, it was. But then, thinking back, people get picked on for all sorts of reasons. If you deviate from the norm in regards to your appearance, then people or kids will pick up on that and target you just because they can. Mm-hmm. So it does stick with you, some of the comments though, but I think I've got over most of it.
So do you bury them or do you just throw them out the window?
Well, the people or the comments?
Let's go with both.
That's a brilliant response.
At the time, I just used to ignore them because why you feed into it? It used to hurt, but in the end, I kind of fought back towards the end of my school years. I used to argue back, and they didn't expect it in the end because I used to be so quiet and meek, and they just didn't know how to handle it because I fought back.
So tell us about the town that you grew up in. Were there a lot of redheads there? Were you the only one in school going through with red hair? I can't imagine that type of comment being said to you if you were the only redhead there.
I wasn't the only redhead. Obviously, there weren't that many of us in school. I mean, I never used to wear makeup in school either. So because my eyebrows are naturally blonde and my eyelashes are blonde, I'm sure you guys know that.
Yeah.
So, people, I used to look different, and people, obviously used to pick up on that. And I used to be quite confident in high school, and I never really cared what people thought. But then the bullying happened on and off, and it kind of made me think, well, maybe I should have more self-awareness, or is there something wrong with me? But it's just kids being kids. Kids don't realize the effect they're having when they're doing these things to you. I wouldn't say there were loads of us redheads in my town, but like I'm practically the only redhead in my family, apart from my grandfather. But
Wow.
but yeah.
You know what? I can't. There's something I can't stand, and I don't know if it happens as much these days. Kids being kids, like that comment drives me nuts, right? Because no, it's not kids being kids. It should be your parents should be teaching your kids. Parents should be teaching their kids about this, and I think I think we're farther advanced than what we were when we were all going to school. They never had that I remember. We never had a bullying day like wear pink day or any other color day or whatever. I don't think that was. I can't remember. It wasn't mine. I'm not sure about you guys, but it still makes me think like kids being kids. Yeah, it kind of drives me nuts because kids shouldn't have to be like that from the start, but they are. And I think it still does happen today, just not as much.
As I've grown up and become an adult, I mean, sometimes I do still get comments from people, men actually, like random men on the street telling me to dye my hair, things like that. Jeez. I know it's crazy, but I can't really say for kids because I don't really know any younger ginger people. So I hope they don't go through what I did and others went through.
Yeah, I can only base it on like my daughters go to school, and actually for a school that's only 300 kids, they have probably 20 ginger-haired kids in the school, which I think is a pretty great ratio.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because, one of my daughters is ginger, they're being raised by a ginger, and there's a lot of gingers in my family. I don't know if they embrace the redhead more, but I never, ever hear any of them talk about like, Emerson got bullied today because of his hair. Someone said something about his hair, or, my youngest never comes home and says that anybody ever says anything about her hair. So I'm hopeful that things are kind of taking a turn. Plus, they also say that redheads are taking over the world. So we're becoming more common.
Well, obviously.
Obviously. But before we change the subject to you helping in part with taking over the world, did you ever dye your hair because you kind of like, conformed? Did you ever try to dye it and change it?
Yeah, I first dyed my hair when I was 18, and it was like a plum color, and it was terrible because when my roots started coming through, it was like bright red roots and then practically black. And I remember stupidly, I had to have my passport photo taken because I was due to travel, and it looks like I have a extra wide parting because the light is shining directly on my red roots, and all you can see is the black hair. It just looks so wrong.
And then you got stuck with that for like 5 to 10 years.
For 10 years, I had that passport photo, and people would look at it like what the hell is that you? Like, because I had my red hair back, years later, so it looked nothing like me.
Where does the transition happen that you go from high school Rachel to dyeing your hair, and then you obviously have fully embraced being a redhead? Why is that? Like, where was the turn?
Self-love, I think. I mean, I always struggled over the years with self-esteem and confidence issues, and it's something I always worked on and will continue to work on too. But I just decided, well, what's wrong with being a redhead? I mean, so many beautiful shades, and it's unique. I mean, it should be something to wear with pride, to be proud of. So I just decided, no, I'm just going to be me, and if people don't like it, then that's their issue, and it's not my problem at all. So I haven't dyed my hair in a long time, and I don't think I ever will again.
Yeah. And so at that point, at that junction, then you start thinking to yourself, is there something else I can be doing? And I don't know, I don't personally know what your day job is and that, but I do know that you run a successful Facebook group, and I'm really interested in this because there's live festivals that happen throughout the world for redheads, right? Like there's gatherings that happen all over the world, and that same vibe happens online on Facebook. But I've seen a good number of Facebook groups that are centered around redheads. Now, some of them are not necessarily about the culture, and a lot of it can be about what someone's bottom looks like or what someone's chest looks like. But where did you start thinking about perhaps launching something like this?
Years ago, I actually had a Facebook group called We Love Gingers, and that was in response to a Facebook group called We Hate Gingers. So when
Oh,
someone told me about it and they said, well, why don't you make one for redheads? And I said, that's actually a really great idea for people to celebrate red hair and come together, like-minded people, that kind of thing. That group kind of fizzled out years and years ago, but my current group, Rachel's World of Redheads, has been going for about 4 years now.
mhm.
And, I just like the interaction with people, redheads, and people who admire red hair, and just coming together, sharing information, and just building each other up, really. Because a lot of people have been through the same experiences that I have as redheads, and it's nice to share that connection with people.
And your Facebook page or group is not anything goes, as
No,
I've read. You keep a very tight ship.
yeah.
You're very vocal on what you want to see on this group. What kind of responses do you get from, and how long does it take for you to go from 0 members to where you are now at like 6,500? Like what happens? How does that get to that point?
Well, it all started off by inviting friends and people who I've met over the years. Like I've actually made friends through other Facebook groups, other ginger groups, and so
Yep.
I kind of invite them, and they invite some people they know. So it kind of word of mouth in a way. And also I'm a member of other Facebook groups, other redhead groups. So I ask the admins who I usually know personally if I can share my group in there. And it's a
Oh
way
yeah.
of just getting attention to my group, and then occasionally I'll share the link to their group. So it's like an equal thing. So that's how it kind of started. And then sometimes I know that Facebook can randomly suggest the group to people. I don't know how often that happens, but sometimes we get people from other groups wanting to join because it actually tells you what other groups they're in. And then sometimes just random people. It's just lately we've had an influx of people coming in because there was another Facebook group we had, but we're shutting that down to focus primarily on my group. So a lot of
Mhm.
people transferring from that group to mine. So it goes through phases of like hardly anyone join it, and then like a mass of people join it. It's just you just don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next.
Obviously, lots of stories get shared with 6,500 people on there. Do you have any stories that you've read that people have posted that kind of really stuck with you? Anything that give you the all good feels?
Usually, when people share stories about their kids and how well they're doing, and you can see they're literally mini me's of their parents, and they share like what's going on in their family, and like it's just really heartwarming to see how their family life is going, really.
Mhm.
I can't think of any specific stories, but I feel like a lot of us share the same kind of stories when it comes to all the things we've dealt with red hair, positive and negative. But
Mhm.
all the redheads in my group are obviously proud of their red hair. They haven't always been that way, and a lot of them have been through bullying and have overcome that. So I think that is always a great story to hear from people, knowing that they beat it, basically.
Mm-hmm. There's someone that we interviewed once, and I can remember him telling us that people would throw stones at him for
Oh wow!
for being a redhead. Like, and maybe I grew up very naive or very sheltered. I'm not really sure, but I couldn't believe that in this because he's, like my age. I think he's 40 or maybe 39 or whatever. And I couldn't even fathom the fact that in our generation that would even be happening. Like to me, that's mind blowing. And that's,
Yeah,
I'm sure, just the tip of the iceberg of some of the things that Darren and I with the show are gonna, find out about people.
yeah. I mean, I've been hit on the legs with a cable before by a guy when I was walking. He was walking behind me, and I didn't. I knew the guy. He lived in my street, and he just decided he was going to do that, and I have no idea why. It's
You should have
just
said, "Come
ridiculous
and
what
join
people.
my Facebook group. You might learn something."
Yeah.
The Facebook group gives you a forum. It gives everyone a forum,
Yeah,
a space to talk, a space to let go and be themselves, be original, be unique, like we've talked from the start. I often wonder with Facebook groups like this, how much do you turn people away when they want to join, you know, and do you, and I can't remember, I know I am in your group. I am in your group as Authentic Ginger, not as myself. Um, and that's because we do the podcast and we love to share it on your page because we think it's informative and fun and entertaining at the same time. But you must get people that you turn away.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, to join the group, people have to answer 3 questions. 1, why do you want to join the group? 2, do you understand that private messaging without prior permission and friend requests are prohibited? Because we like to keep our members safe. We don't like them to be bothered by anyone unnecessarily, unless they want to talk to people, then that's completely up to them. But as a general rule, don't PM anyone or don't send them friend requests. And also, a rule is, you know, don't be disrespectful and keep all negativity out of the group. And if people don't answer the questions, then we deny, because, you know, if they haven't got like the time to actually read the rules, then what are they going to be like in the group? I mean that's not always a foolproof way of vetting people, because they can just put anything, you know, just to get in,
Sure.
and then do whatever they want then. But we do keep track of people, like we check all the comments that they make on posts and things like that. And if, you know, if people do play up or say anything bad, we give them a warning or we boot them, depending on what they've said, or we mute them for like a week or something like that. So we try to keep it a safe, positive place for our members.
How far do you want it to go? I mean, I've seen groups on there that have, you know, 60,000, you know, 10,000. I mean, is this a daily job for you?
I've got 2 other admins who
Oh,
deal with problems as well, and everything, the running of the group. I've got one, Lily, she's in Nova Scotia, and Linda, who's in Georgia. So they got that kind of North America time zone, and I've got a UK time zone. So when I'm asleep, they kind of, you know, hold the fort, and then, you know, vice versa when they're in bed, and I kind of deal with it then. But
yeah,
with the numbers it is at the moment, it is pretty easy to keep track of everything, because if it was 60,000, I think we'd have to take on more people to,
sure,
you know,
sure.
keep things running smoothly. But the way things are, having 6,500, I think that's a nice number for the, you know, amount of admins we have at the moment. So I wouldn't say it's an everyday job, but I do go on there every day to keep track of everything, and things seem to be going okay so far. I mean, if more people come, then I would consider seriously taking someone else on. I mean, I did recently think about adding another member to the admin team, but at the moment, I think we're doing okay.
Are they doing a lot of work too? So obviously, when you're sleeping, they're doing the admin stuff.
Yeah,
Do you have to check every single post that's put out there?
definitely.
Okay.
Because sometimes you get spam accounts that kind of trickle through. They may answer the questions correctly, and, you know, they come in and they may spam the page or put something inappropriate on. So, you know, we do check the comments everyone makes on posts and pictures, that type of thing. And so, you know, otherwise, if we miss something, it could potentially put people at risk of maybe being hacked or something like that. We try to do our best to keep on top of everything.
I think that one thing that I've noticed, especially lately, is that, you know, Redheads, we've got each other's back kind of thing, right? Like it's a camaraderie. So I can
Absolutely.
imagine if something is said, then even your people that aren't admin are on it pretty quick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And they tag me sometimes if I don't get there fast enough. They're like, you know, tag me to come and sort things out. Like sometimes we get people who are just really rude, and if they don't like something they see, like they don't like someone's photo, for example, sometimes they post a really negative comment, and we call them out on it, because nobody should be subjected to that. We like to keep things positive, and, you know, we like to give people a second chance, and if, you know, they can kind of redeem their behavior, if not, then they get blocked from the group, because we don't put up with that at all.
You decided that you were going to have photo Fridays, or I can't remember what you called it.
Okay,
What,
Freaky
what is
Friday.
what is it?
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
So Freaky Friday, Tosh.
Lindsay Lohan
I'll just-
reference. Sorry.
I'm going to catch you up to speed, Tosh.
Yes,
Freaky
please.
Friday, if I'm not mistaken, Rachel, is an opportunity for people to submit photos, more or less showing whatever you want, with some restrictions,
Oh
obviously.
yes, it's not a free for all. Basically,
Right.
it's you have to adhere to Facebook guidelines, otherwise things could get
So,
really out of control.
yeah. So here's the question. Did your members put up a fuss that they weren't allowed to put photos up, that more risque photos than a normal photo? Did they give you some grief about not being able to do that? Because there are other Facebook groups that are just for that.
Yeah, there are. I didn't get grief as such. I think I put out a message on my group asking members what they would like to see more of, and I said I kind of put a disclaimer like within reason because
Yeah.
I know what some people would probably come up with, but I like to have a good balance in my group. I like to cater to everyone's taste if possible, obviously again within reason, as well as sticking to Facebook guidelines. I mean, if people want something even more risque, then my group isn't for them.
Mhm.
I like to keep things classy, not trashy.
Yeah.
That's the general rule,
Mhm.
I think.
That's smart. I like that because you're right. My goodness, the amount of things and like on Instagram with hashtags, if you follow the redhead life or just redhead or whatever, and some of the things that it suggests I'm gonna like, guess what? I don't.
Yeah,
And half of
yeah,
them aren't even redheads. They just use the tag. And I'm like, okay, listen,
exactly.
there's nothing I hate more than people masquerading as a ginger. Just drives me
Yeah,
crazy.
they haven't earned the right to call
No.
themselves ginger.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. You mentioned the word earn there. How much? What can you do to monetize this group? Is there anything that can happen? Because you've got 6,000 people at your fingertips.
Right.
Have you ever thought about launching your own in-person festival, show, any kind of event that would bring these people from online to a live setting? You have them. What are your thoughts on that?
It has been kind of a fleeting thought, but most of my members are in North America.
Hmm.
Like the vast majority of members are in North America. And I think it would be difficult for everyone to participate in person in some kind of experience. I mean, you would kind of alienate a lot of people, most of the members, because obviously I'm based in the UK and there's a small percentage of the rest of us in the UK in my group.
Right.
So I'm not sure how it would work, the logistics, but we tried to do a group chat for everyone to participate, but for some reason, I think they've taken that option off the group now. But when it
Okay.
comes to anything in person, I'm not really sure how it would work.
I was just thinking, like some of those groups, they've turned it into actually selling a product, like what redheads need, redhead
Yeah,
eyebrow stuff, redhead eyelash mascara,
T-shirts.
yeah,
t-shirts, hoodies. There's hoodies and tubes too.
Yeah, that's right.
So, I mean,
Yeah,
you could definitely like it. Do you think that that's something you'd want to do? Is there something that you feel like we as redheads need that you could monetize on? Which I'm not. I was shocked to see the redhead mascara idea out there, which not that I don't like it. I haven't tried it, but I was like, huh, I thought I was doing all right with very dark brown.
same. I use black. I got no issues with that whatsoever. So. To answer your question though, I never really thought about anything like that. I mean, for me, it's all about supporting each other and for people to come together, admirers and redheads alike, to just share the same experiences and share tips and like I've been posting links lately about different facts about redheads. So it's always nice to share that information with people if they're not aware already.
That's one of my favorite things too, because I find a lot of redheads don't know that we're different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that there's a lot of things about us that are really different. Do you have a favorite fact about redheads?
Well, I always heard that redheads needed more anesthetic, and I didn't know that for a fact until I had to have a couple of teeth out, two separate occasions, and I could still feel everything, and they had to give me a lot of anesthetic, and it wore off incredibly quickly too, which was scary because
yeah.
when you're in the middle of having teeth out, when you're starting to feel pain rather than pressure.
Yeah.
It's not a great thing to go through.
No.
I know for a fact that is a true thing.
Yeah, same.
Definitely.
I have had not teeth, but similar experience where we're like, wait a second, what's happening with you? Why is
Yeah.
nothing working? Because I'm a redhead.
Yeah, it's so true, and I don't know why that's the case. It's kind of a weird thing.
It is. One day we should, like, we've done a dermatologist about freckles now. We really should get like an anesthesiologist on, or a genetic doctor or something to explain why we're unicorns.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
That sounds interesting.
We briefed on Freaky Friday. I briefly want to talk about Model Monday, because that's your start of your week.
Yeah.
He really
Again,
likes your page. Can you tell?
Well, I mean, Model Mondays. Is this another one of those days that you thought, let's do this again? Like let's open this up for people to send their best model photos. And are they real models, or are they models? If they just people who are taking model-like photos?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, we used to have a model in our group. I'm not sure if she's still a member, but again, Model Mondays, it's like trying to cater for everyone's tastes. Normally, I prefer having regular people post their pictures, like the redhead next door type thing. But I
Right.
know that a lot of people like to see both kinds of women. They like to see regular people, and then they also like to see like the more polished kind of professional photos, that type of thing. And I know a lot of groups feature a lot of redheaded models, and I didn't want my group to be all about that. That's why I allocated one day specifically for that, so it didn't get overrun with pictures. I mean, I keep track of everything that people post, and if they post anything inappropriate, I delete it.
Right.
And there's been maybe one or two occasions where people push their luck, but I delete it, and they get notified on Facebook why the comments or their pictures being taken down. There's like options you can tick, like
Right.
sexually provocative or something like that.
Yeah.
So they know why it's being taken down. But like I said, we try to keep a good balance with everything, like regular people and models or famous people. So I like to think it keeps everybody happy that way.
Yeah. So you're allowed to show half your ass, but if you show your full ass, you're going to get pulled off. Is that how it goes?
Well, I know that Facebook doesn't allow you to show female nipples or full nudity or even like your full ass, as you would say. But
Yeah.
it's all about keeping things classy. I mean, there was one image a guy put up of a woman, and I immediately deleted it because it was crossing the line. Nothing was shown, but it was just way too suggestive. So
Right.
I do like to keep a close eye on everything.
It's a fun balance, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a
Just
great,
imagine.
it's such a great body positivity thing too, because a lot of us wouldn't have grown up seeing redhead models.
Exactly.
So to actually
point.
see, actually see like professional photos, or it doesn't even have to be professional, but just us loving our hair and loving ourselves, for a lot of people who are just coming up or maybe went through shitty years, then I think that's such a great idea. I love it. I thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
No problem. It's nice to see us being represented in that sense.
And I've also, I would also like to say that I'm very thankful for you for being able to allow us to share our podcast to your group. I know it's a borderline probably answer from you to say yes, you can do that, because it does come from a business, and I know that most Facebook groups are anti-business, anti-advertising, and I get why. But I suspect because we're not officially coming out and saying, hey, buy a product. We're coming out and saying, hey, listen to some episodes here, because they're educational. We talk to really cool people. We talk to cool people that are there, and I suspect as our podcast it continues to grow, we're going to have more and more people of every day. It doesn't have to be someone who's doing multi-billion dollars in a company as a redhead or an actor or an actress or whoever. Everyday people, and you wouldn't believe the stories we hear from everyday people. And so you're housing everyday people, 6,500 of them at this point in time, that are all potential guests on this show. So it's wonderful that you're doing that, and I certainly really appreciate the fact that you've allowed us to share our show on your page. I hope there's people that are listening to the show as well, because there's the gain for us is that more redheads come on and listen.
Awesome. Well, Rachel, thank you for your time today. And thank you for building such a positive Facebook. If anybody's watching this and wanting to find it, how do they find you?
Just type in the search bar, Rachel's World of Redheads, and it should pop up. And then they just have to answer the 3 questions to join. That's
Okay.
Perfect.
And you spell Rachel. Yeah, you spell Rachel a little bit different. So how about we spell out your name too?
I do. I spell it Rachelle.
Okay.
So it's another L, another E on the end.
Well, thank you again, Rachel. You've said it all about your group. Yeah, we're thrilled to have you on. And if you haven't already been on Rachel's Facebook page, please find it at Rachel's World of Redheads. We'll put it in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.
You've been listening to the Authentic Ginger Podcast.
Become a part of the Ginger Nation by liking, subscribing, following, and leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This podcast was produced by Tosh Taylor of the Podcast Hub Productions. Find her online at podcasthub.ca.